Hi guys, welcome to very central London, opposite the Langham Hotel. The energy in this place, I quite enjoy staying in the Langham. Been there twice previously. This building here, however, the BBC. This is Broadcasting House. Where do we start with the BBC? Well, officially today, we are here because the BBC are shit. The British Broadcasting Corporation. Perhaps it's the word corporation that's the bad piece. Perhaps there's associations that we need to look into deeper, away from the BBC, into other corporations, like the Corporation of London, perhaps. People around the world will recognise the name of the BBC, apparently one of the most trusted news sources on the globe. Worldwide presence, worldwide shame when it comes to both not getting the news out at all and in what your staff do and your company do to protect pedophiles. Directly above your main front door you have a child that's naked with a toy in its hand, a child at play, looked after by an adult. Let's pretend that adult is Jimmy Savile. What's going on behind the child's back? When things like the Jimmy Savile and other persons investigation is happening, you'd expect the BBC to be squeaky clean. The BBC know that the public know that they spout propaganda. If they're not spreading propaganda, they're feeding useless news to keep people's minds preoccupied. The quality of the journalism done by the BBC, that exact quality gets measured. Their license, their ability to continue broadcasting is dependent on their quality of broadcasts. If their broadcasts are utter lies, as they are currently about Palestine, about them being so supportive of the Israeli government, then they don't deserve a license to broadcast. We shouldn't be paying a license fee for a communications company that is generally implicitly trusted by the UK. It's a sham. The same as the banking crisis, the same as the 1%, as we refer to them, having the power in Britain. These guys are part to that power. They are part to the quilt that keeps them warm, that keeps them distant away from the public. This particular building here has very, very strong anti-terror legislation protecting it. A gathering of more than 3 people in this area is construed as being a terrorist event. I'm not going to identify anybody on video that's here today. If they're across this side of the pavement, then yeah, fine. But the people behind us, where the protest is, I'm not going to identify these people. several days ago, on one of the first of the now continuing many nights of bombings in Gaza by Israel, a child that was only 11 months old was killed in bombing by Israel. There's nothing unusual there. You'll see pictures on Facebook particularly of loads of dead children piled on top of each other now. This one child, though, his father was a correspondent for the BBC in Gaza. Even when their own staff or their own staff's families are being killed, the BBC still fail to report the story. A fortune is given to the BBC by the British taxpayer. Yes, there's intermediary steps. There's the steps where it goes from the license fee to government and the government then to other people. But at the end of the day, we are the ones that run the BBC. We are the ones that they are accountable to. Today there's a protest starting to let people know that we know that these guys aren't telling the truth. So the more that we get these guys to admit that they're not telling the truth, the better. So I'll speak to you guys again very soon. Come on down, give us a visit. Get to Oxford Street Tube. Oxford Street's in central London. Come out of exit 1, go straight up the road, and you'll find us. Literally a 5-minute walk away from Oxford Street. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Up here it says Gaza. What? It says Gaza. Up here. There is. I seen it earlier.
Yeah, but they're going to cop onto us while we're walking around trying to find it.
Well, just drop it then. Right here.
BBC! You are reporting unfairly with racist bias on the occupation of Palestine. Syria will not be occupied until you report with more fairness and less bias. You did not report fairly on Iraq, causing the death of thousands. You did not report fairly on Syria, Spain, Italy, Portugal, or anywhere else. We call on you to change your ways, BBC.
Occupy the BBC.
Report equally with no bias. We do not pay our TV licenses for this racist rubbish. One of your own reporters lost a child and you couldn't even report on that without the racist bias. Shame on you.
I didn't plan this, and I haven't written my pocket.
Shame on you, British Broadcasting Corporation. Although the corporation's a bit of a clue.
Oh, damn me, what's that photo?
Start reporting truthfully with no bias. It's bad enough with the paedophilia and now we have racism to contend with.
It is racist.
Not saying when wasn't it?
Yes.
I've got some marshmallows on hold for a second.
Let's get call out so we can
Stop reporting only on the side of Israel. I'm not asking you to side with anybody. I'm asking you to report equally, 50-50, balanced reporting. If anybody in charge of this horrible theatrical show, which is the BBC, would like to come and talk to us, that'd be great. Although we know you probably won't, after all you've got enough on your plate, haven't you? We do not pay our TV licence for this biased, racist reporting. Stop the football! If you can't report honesty on the occupation of Palestine, you will be occupied until you behave. You do not represent us. We do not pay our TV license for this.
Gaza's in front. That's where we stopped at top 10. That's Giza this side, Gaza right in front. There's a method to our madness. Giza and Gaza.
BBC! Report the truth! Not what the government and what Israel wants you to report. I'm not asking you to report solely on the side of Palestine. I'm asking you to report equally for both.
It's the symbology that I like this one. I know what you're saying. If someone comes out to talk to me, how about that? Could you have that flat? If you could ask for someone to come and talk to me, I'll consider what to do with my time. First, they've sent a demand out for you to remove this occupation and this little occupation of Gaza here.
I'm going to find some candles.
I've got demand as well, and I want to come out to talk to me.
Paper, then the candle. It's papers down, then cameras on top.
Well, I understand it's not your fault, but it's conscious. I understand where you're coming from. You've got your jobs to do, I've got my job, and I'm just ready for it, thank you. But can you possibly ask somebody to come out? If it's all right them going, can you get rid of your tank? Well, no, come and talk to me and put me something down and keep me that actually. Equal demands for them.
Sure.
Hey, managers of the BBC! Stop putting your staff in a bad position of having to ask me to remove this tent. Come down from your ivory tower and your cash coffee and come and talk to us. With the BBC. It does what it has to do and it doesn't care who suffers in the meantime. Stop using your stuff as your messengers and come down here yourself. And on your way down, tell your important to report equally about Palestine and Israel.
Please note the new hashtag. I think you may well find other people through that hashtag that might like to see the video. The new hashtag Occupy the BBC. there are so many people from so many different areas all ready to do so many things in the name of Occupy the BBC. Not just passing out papers, not just tents. For a long time, we've been very, very aware that the BBC is shit. When it comes to giving out information to the public, they are inaccurate to the point that the bias that they use isn't just negligent, it's criminal. They lie to the British public. Whatever the British Parliament decide, they are the voice of the British Parliament. Whatever the corruption inside Number 10 decides. I'm sure that Number 10 was behind the cover-up of Hillsborough. Whatever Number 10 decide is the true story. This news agency follow that party line. The company that have the problem with paedophilia.
And just kind of mould it, really.
Could you put it through on total policing also, please?
And as for the people coming in and out the front door, we know it's not your fault. We know there's some really good people amongst you that have nothing more than to get the truth out. We're well aware it's your editors that are at fault. Editors, let your staff do their job.
George is fucking BBC now. Trying to remember the guy
Is it Chris Patton?
No.
That's not him.
Who is it now?
Is it not Chris Patterson, the guy who was the Tory MP, and then he went to the Hong Kong and went over to China?
Oh, while you're at it, BBC, stop siding with the Tories, by the way. While our own British government's trying to collect the disabled and the poor, and your cameraman and our witnesses the other night walloped a peaceful protester and then filmed the ensuing arguments and tried to portray us as the bad ones. Shame on you! A nation of wolves ends up, a nation of sheep ends up with a government of wolves.
Paper, they're going to drip all over the place.
And the wolves are kind of currently poking sticks into your cages. Get out of there!
McDonald's across the road,
and
get
report the
napkins or
truth.
something.
You're worried about 1/10, but you're not worried about your food, reporting. I think BBC, you've got away a little bit lightly, actually, lately. And one-tenth is the least of your concerns right now.
BBC. BBC.
It is working. It is.
BBC. A word to the wise. This is 1/10, not 1,000.
Not yet.
Most people will be finishing work who is that? BBC, shame on you for your biased, racist reporting about Gaza.
Right, let's fire a little bit of DIY.
You see, BBC, all around the world, the social media is taking off. And the social media doesn't tell people what to think or what's happening. It just records it as it is. Perhaps you'd like to try a bit of that, a bit of honesty. It was bad enough with the child abuse, and now we have to endure the racism.
I can speak to individuals
We know it's not the fault of the
with 3 members of security, one of them very senior in the area. They're slightly reluctant, the normal customers and the normal workers on the street. I shall try engaging further, though. Ironically-ish, a TV camera is turned up. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Now that we're making a bit of noise, is there anything you'd like to say to the viewing public?
Viewing public? Is this an occupier?
It's streaming literally all over the world on loads of sites.
Oh, no pressure then. Well, everybody mobilise and support the Palestinian people. The people in Gaza need your help right now. So any protests, any embassies, any media outlets that you want to complain to, get out and do it now. Contact all your friends and do likewise.
What do you think about the concept of Occupy the BBC?
I think Occupy anywhere is fantastic, as you very well know. Yeah. But any occupiers around the world, we have solidarity with you all. I'm part of the London group, and they do great work, so keep on the fight.
3 rockets have just struck the same building that had the media in yesterday, where the 8 international journalists got injured. That was 1 missile. They struck 3 further missiles into it just now. It's just come up on my screen. So more of the international press being killed and injured in Gaza. I wonder if the BBC is going to cover that.
Well, protection, that's the new idea of protecting people, is to drop bombs on them, isn't it? And phosphorus and I suppose all other sort of weapons of mass destruction. They're okay in the hands of the friends of the United States, but they're not okay in the hands of anybody else. So the people that the Israelis kill are completely different to the people that the innocent people that everybody else kills.
And our own Prime Minister, apparently speaking in our name, says that he supports it and Britain supports.
Absolutely. Without our Prime Ministers and our British support, this would not be happening. If the BBC and our British government stayed neutral or stayed out of this or opposed it, it would not be happening. It certainly would not be happening to this degree.
And a week or so ago, the same Prime Minister turned up in Israel wearing a peace poppy, selling weapons.
And the same Prime Minister went to Saudi Arabia.
British weapons that might be getting used in this shit.
Exactly, and went to Saudi Arabia to sell more £1 billion worth of weapons, knowing very well that they are going to up in Syria in the hands of the Wahhabis. And the extremists, as they call the terrorists and so on, they're the very same people that they're swapping and selling arms to. No wonder you got terrorism.
We need to have a big embargo around Israel, stopping all weapon sales. The stuff that they make themselves is massive high tech,
Yes.
but they import lots and lots and lots of weaponry as well.
Yeah, but without the support of Britain, America, France and so on to keep their economy going, they wouldn't be able to afford that, to be able to afford to have one of the biggest armies in the world either. To kill, and I mean, they're facing civilians. These people are not facing an army like the Russians or the Egyptians or somebody else is well armed. They're facing unarmed people. The Palestinians have no standing army. They've got no air force. They've got no navy. They've got no helicopters. They've got no planes. They've got no tanks. They've only got a handful of handguns and homemade rockets.
Yeah.
That's their entire arsenal.
The homemade rockets that normally would carry explosives and fuel, but because they're so short range, they've taken the explosives out to add more fuel so they can go further.
Get more distance. That's
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, by and large, they're harmless.
When they hit a road, they leave a scorch mark on the road.
That's right.
And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something like a total of 3 Israelis killed with these things.
It's the equivalent of throwing a stone at a tank.
Well,
a
yes,
child.
I mean, civilians here, I mean, there are competitions where they build better foreign rockets than that, just for the fun, just for the fun of it. You know, they just don't have the materials there. They don't have the materials to plaster their house, to fix their house, and make their road, and fix their walls. How on earth are they going to have materials for such high-tech stuff? They don't.
Chris, I was going to say, Tammy, if I recognize anybody else, I'll get a message to her. I'm only coming in here for a few minutes.
Cool.
So I might come out and speak to you in a bit.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
We'll see you here in about 2 minutes.
Should be. Yeah. We might be here for a couple of months and bring more tents.
See you on TV.
So we might bring more tents and be here a few months. Occupy London spent one of the harshest winters yet in a rather exposed area next to St Paul's Cathedral. We didn't choose that location. We wanted to be inside Paternoster Square. Although this is a U-shaped building, this is exposed. The wind is whistling through here. This is not an ideal place to have any tents. But if it needs to happen, it will happen. The next hour. The next hour is very important.
Making a damn fortune out of our TV license payments.
Russia Today are broadcasting that Hamas and Fatah have had a meeting deciding to have complete cooperation.
What's that? Explain that.
Hamas and Fatah officials agree to unite. Anyone who mentions division after today is criminal. So maybe that's one news item that the BBC need to carry. That. Well, you shut about
Hamas and
Fatah. I'll let you read the information so you see it firsthand. Hamas and Fatah officials agree to unite. Anyone who mentions division after today is criminal.
Tammy, be careful, you'll catch on fire.
Hey BBC, we've got a news flash for you. Hamas and Fatah officials have agreed to unite. And they've both said that anyone who mentions division after today is criminal. I know you haven't reported on that one yet, have you, BBC? That wouldn't suit your propaganda agenda. Hamas and Fatah have agreed to unite. Well, I bet that spoils your plan for the 6 o'clock news. BBC, we're not asking you to defend one side or the other, we're asking you to report balance without the racist bias.
Tammy, why are there so many buildings around here with partly clothed children and children lifting up their dresses and stuff?
Yeah, that's another thing that's just been pointed out to me. These buildings around here sure seem to have a whole lot of engravings of partly naked children. Sorry, just saying.
Not mentioning his name.
How much was it again?
185,000.
Hello.
McAlpine got £185,000. In pretty much record time. Oh, you can mention the fact he was given the money, just not.
Here's another one, BBC. You should sort out £185,000 of taxpayers' money to Ron McAlpine and agreed not to mention his name.
Because here we have.
Do you know that?
Here we have.
If Palestine paid you $2 million, would you start reporting fairly? I bet you would. Because it's all about the money. You are a crooked, corrupt corporation. We do not pay our TV licenses to listen to and to watch your racist bias. We know it's not the fault of your staff. We're well aware that journalists come to their news items and they've reported fairly and honestly. Yeah, we know it's the editors. But you're cutting it and flashing it and twisting it to suit your right-wing Tory agenda. We are tired of your propaganda. In today's internet and social media, millions of us are well aware of the truth. We are not going to be spoon-fed your propaganda any longer. We don't want thousands of adverts for bored with shopping. We don't care which celebrity's on what diet and how many pairs of Jimmy Choo she's got in the cupboard. We want some real, honest news. And funnily enough, you know, I bumped into you lot down at the Israeli embassy. You came to film that protest and put a spin on it. Just like you filmed the Occupy London protest and put a spin on that. Just like you come out and put a spin on any other protest. Well, here's the crazy thing. We're right outside your front door and you don't seem to be filming this protest.
Tammy.
They've got CCTV cameras everywhere. They're constantly filming us.
Maybe you'll take these pictures of the security camera pictures and maybe you'll put that up on the 6 o'clock news tonight.